G'day, we are back playing the string challenge, just dragging ourselves to the finish line. That finish line has pushed itself slightly further away from the last patch. As you can see in here, we have finally got Singapore. So that'll be our bring in today. It did also bring in Antarctica. The problem with Antarctica that I have in bringing it in is that a few of the cities, I had to go bring it in just to have a look to see them come in. And some of the cities are down south in here, and you might notice that my breaking news thing is going to be blocking my access to those almost permanently because of how constantly that thing's on. So Antarctica is definitely a problem at the moment. The ability to turn off this bar, especially in free play mode, would be very much appreciated because I'm not using it. I'm not referencing it at all. Or even if it would let me just turn off like alarms for certain cities, and then just eventually I get to turn off the alarm for all however many there are. Okay, so for now we might just bring in Singapore on its own. I don't need to jump into another country because I would like to see Australia get a little bit more filled out. So let's got two choices here. We can either work on Southeast Asia, or we can go continue to try and finish off Russia. So I assume that Russia's not really going to give us too many more from here, so we might work on this. So let's have a look at what we've got. This area. I think I said that it would make sense to sort of break it up into different, I think I was already doing that, breaking it up into different sections. So they're all pretty evenly spaced. I think the starting point should be this connection here. If I get rid of that, and then we see how many cities we can join into this little connection here. We probably want to update them as we go along. Although I'm going to say that these are all such short routes, maybe I should just leave them with the level 5 planes just for ease and not having to watch those planes get upgraded. Save about half our work for us. We don't have to chase the planes. I noticed too that there was that one episode where I gained like $80 million, and ever since then it's still just sort of holding around 150. So I do feel like there was that one small period where the money was insane, but I don't feel like I ever read patch notes or anything sort of addressing it. So what I should do at this point too is build the second line, because this is intended to eventually loop. That obviously these two have to come back and join together. I should keep track of what cities I think need to be on the other side of this so that they are actually sort of continuing in a circle. That is not what I was doing. We're definitely slow going at the moment. Very close to the end though. And again, it's been another 2 weeks or so since I think I last played. So still dragging it out, seeing if they change anything to sort of make the movement a little bit smoother. I'd love to hear the breaking news of what city just opened. The almost full news doesn't matter to me at the moment. I mean, I would like it to matter to me, but I think I've had to resign to the fact that in a string challenge layout, we are definitely not keeping ourselves above water. Unless I spend the last few moments just upgrading absolutely everything to having 5 planes. But even then, that possibly surely will just cause there to be bottlenecks on the longest routes. Like if every small route can move everyone as fast as they can, they're just going to hit those really long routes that are already using 5. And that's where we're going to see our downfall, that way. Does seem like we're going to have to do that jump. It's definitely going to be the shortest route option for those two. No, we don't want to reduce the ticket prices because we want there to be fewer people in our line at the moment. I would love to know if there's a difference between the amount of passengers I've had versus the amount of passengers that have actually reached their destination. Because I feel like it would be low. The amount of times that it would take someone traveling across the map to reach a destination that's already full, and so they've traveled from China heading for LA, and then they get cooked because they hit St. Petersburg, and they can't be fit into their airport. That's the other thing too. I could go along just upgrading all the airports. I don't think I'll make you suffer having to watch that though. I might if that's my own private challenge of slowly chipping through, updating all the airports and updating all the planes to see what it looks like. I feel like I'd want to update you do all the planes first, and then you go back and do all the airports, because... Or would you just do it at the same time? For efficiency, it feels like at the same time would make the most sense. But for actually seeing some periods where you don't have like this red symbol on there, I feel like you'd want to wait to open up the airports to being bigger. Okay, so let's just do a quick grab from Kazakhstan. We'll get rid of that. And go this way. I feel like you can sort of see a small gap here between where these guys slightly closer this way. So the question is, do I go, especially since I've taken that, this guy could have sort of jumped like that. Actually, that makes more sense, doesn't it? I think that's a cleaner way to look at it. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of that again. And we will just grab these two cities. So I think this, if I tried to claim, say, all of these cities just into this connection, I think this city in Kazakhstan, Anktubi, gets sort of stuck, that it's below the line of where everything else would be connecting. And it might be just a little bit easier just to bounce across there and work our way around the circle. I mean, really, even this guy could be part of that, but he's helping out and making this route slightly shorter. I mean, if you were to completely clean it up, possibly you would take these Kazakhstani cities and attach them over here and leave all that as Russia. Because these ones are in a different spot, I will upgrade their planes. You can see there's already 2 planes on the route just south of them, so they're already going to be working a little bit harder. Okay, so we go. That's our route to catch all those guys. And we jump across. Hopefully there are a lot of travelers that do travel internal to their countries. I don't know if it's written like that or if they just sort of randomize what cities they go into, because I mean, people must be making it somewhere, right? Because I am making money. I mean, I'm losing money. You can see I'm down $1 million from when I started today. But with how many passengers there are in the air, surely there should be a fair bit, sort of. No. I don't know how you ended up over there. Okay. Now, the top's a little bit trickier because we've got this guy. I think that what we have to do is just concede that means that there's going to be at least one long route in there, which is this route, is the longest route in this connection. So I think that what we do is we go... How? Okay. Okay, and then we get down to Kazan. Now, I think that the flight from Kazan to Kirov here would be the same length as that, and they're both shorter than that, so it doesn't quite matter that they're longer than possibly other ways that we could work this up, because no matter what, Skywalker Ranch up here is going to have to connect to somewhere down here, and it's either that one or that one. Now, was there another further north city than this? I don't recall. I feel like there was. Oh no, I grabbed him. It was that one. And I guess that one. At the moment, Russia's looking nice and green on this side. It's possibly because it just hasn't been enough time for people flying from one side of the world to the other to even reach this part, because no one's traveling through this section yet, because we're still connecting it all together. But don't worry, that'll change nice and quick. It's only people heading to Russia that are currently on this line. We are getting a little bit jumpy here, and I've already had the game crash once, just before I started filming, or this attempt of filming. Crashed nice and early in my last attempt, so let's save it there just to avoid having to rebuild all of these Russian routes again. Alright, so that's step one. Connected. That should now be all the Russian cities connected to something. Now, hopefully what happens is the game now reconfigures all of its little, like, routes, so that updating all the planes and the airports is actually slightly easier because I'm not recalibrating the routes at all. That's the hope here, that this is slightly more efficient. How much does it cost me to upgrade it all the way? So that's all the way, it's just 2 off. I feel like that's what I should be doing now. Because if I have an intention to eventually sort of level things all the way up, may as well just... I mean, it's going to burn through a lot of money, but I've got money to spend at this point. If I had, say, less than 100 million. If I burn 55 million on this, which is possible. Now, I'll just stick with doing the airports first, and then I'll go back to the planes. Because I think that... because you can see that the airports are going green because the plane only has to pick up the 50 people sitting at them at the moment, and it'll go green. So I've just got to sort of move it along the line to make sure I'm aware of which city is I'm up to. Just capture that guy over there. It's been missed. Also tricky finding a spot on the map to drag from so I can move it. Once we upgrade all of these, I'll jump back out to have a look to see how many more cities we've got in Australia. From the sound of it, it's only been about 2. From solo. See, we're starting to get red planes moving through this area too. So the first of the great migrations is now happening. I really like this name. Nizhny Novgorod. It sounds like a like a fantasy character from like a a Pratchett book. I suppose Terry Gilliam would also write something like that too. I mean, those ones are already upgraded for a bit. Alright, so we'll come back and do those planes in a moment. Let's just have a look at how we're looking down here. We've got anything else in Australia yet? I think we only had like the 4th southern cities before. We're definitely not getting anything else in Singapore, since Singapore is just the one city. Nothing more. So where are these new cities popping up? Just in the southeast. So let's bring in Papua New Guinea as well then. Port Moresby. Alright, we get to come down and try and solve this little puzzle in a moment. The Philippines is definitely... Oh, it might not be too tricky, actually, because if it works in a circle, which it looks like it might, like if we can go Manila to Bagulo? Bagulo. And then let's go across there. I want to present it as like a circle, which I guess if it comes up to here, it just sort of attaches into this part of Malaysia. What we would do is we would bounce, see if these guys still apply to the rules of the string. Possibly I could just bounce him straight up to there. That one. But I think... See if this guy hops across there, alright. And then if we put this route here... No. This route... No. Not going to cooperate with me, are you? General Santos. He could hop all the way straight down to Menando. I wonder if that's the better route. That we sort of have this loop go up there and then come back down this way. Yeah, that looks better. So let's set that up. Brunei, our one city of Brunei coming across. Joining in. And then we can finish connecting the rest of what we've got in Philippines. That is a real little hug of a set of cities down over there now. Singapore and the border, the city gets from Malaysia on the border. I know that just over the border in Malaysia is where Legoland is. I had a trip booked for Singapore with my family for April 2020, and that one unsurprisingly got cancelled. Wrong. Bada bang. No. Oh, so there we go. We're still getting Malaysian cities. Kota Kinabalu just came in there. Not too many cities in the Philippines, so it's possible that we could get more here. But for now, we'll upgrade them all the way. Yeah, again, what really sucks is that because they've got the like this ability to add another plane, fantastic, but just let it be level 6. 2, 4, 6. Easy. 1, 3, 5. Because I guess that one had to be leveled out, that otherwise it would normally be level 1. 1, 3, 6. What's the benefit? Who's doing a 3? At what point in the game are you at where you're going like, well, let's go 3s? I think that doing an island like that first before we do the rest of this is a good idea, because with the rest of the layout that we're going to have for the rest of Southeast Asia, a lot of that is just sort of connecting the dots and looking at where it's going to fit. Whereas I know that, say, when I had to redo Mongolia a few times, part of that was just because you had to work out where it was going to fit into everything else. So having the Philippines set and going, all right, well, we know exactly how the Philippines is going to connect into the rest of this. I mean, really, those are pretty short routes. Possibly you could even bounce across this way, but those would be significantly longer than, especially that one. Get this guy connected too, because I've already got to correct this with a new city at the top there. I'm pretty sure that we read about Singapore a little while ago when I assumed I wasn't getting it. So I think we've got our bases covered with that. With the site, a lot of Papua New Guinea is jungle. It's for Australia, it's most famous for the Kokoda Trail, which is a World War II trek that soldiers did that was just awful. And so now you can go back and hike the Kokoda Trail. You want a taste of what it would have been, like a vague idea of what that would have been like, because I imagine doing it mid-war is probably a bit different than doing it on holiday. Alright, but we've got Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea, officially the independent state of Papua New Guinea. Capital located along the southeast coast, Port Moresby. Country is the world's largest island country with an area of 462 square kilometers. It has a gorgeous flag. I've always really liked their flag. And we have... So it got its independence from Australia in 1949. It was declared and recognized in 1975. There's a population of 8.9 million. Now, how many of those 8.9 million live in Port Moresby? Your population. 360,000. So they are pretty well spread. So they go all the way out to here and then sort of join in the Solomon Islands, what rolls into that. This is a theatre for a few of the World War II battles as well, like the famous Japanese-American Battle of Guadalcanal. I think that was on this island or that island, maybe that one. Okay, the suspense of getting Brunei connected. There we go. Slowly, slowly. Losing all will to live. Well, I'm at least glad to say that once I upgrade these planes here, we'll jump back up and do the upgrading of the planes in Russia. Then we're done with Russia. Like, it does still feel very possible that we're going to have some more cities just sort of pop up through Russia. But I would say optimistically we're not going to see too many more. Well, at least any of those are just going to be easy, sort of disconnect one route, add two route sort of solutions. See, we've already got, yeah, red planes moving bunches of people through the through Russia. So we'll see this start to buckle. I mean, they've got huge airports, though. It's the one thing that we have treated Russia to up here. So it'll at least be a while before they complain. Imagine that you grew up here and you lived near Ufa. How blessed do you feel you are that you don't have to write one of these other really long names on your application forms every time you're asked where you're from? You really dodged a bullet in a sea of really long names. So now I'm undecided about whether the last country I leave, so where we declare this finished, obviously one city, well, I will save and then I will unlock the very last city so we get to see the final game stats on this, but I'll sort of have a save in there that I can load back to. I feel like the last country was always going to be the French islands down the bottom, but now I've got Antarctica. I don't know if maybe I should make it Antarctica. But I'm also sort of curious to see how many cities and what sort of cities we get in Antarctica, because I think that's fascinating, like in the way that I've read about the different countries and learn about them. I feel like each of the individual cities that we would get in Antarctica would be their own interesting little story about why they exist, what research stations they've been built for, and plenty to learn about there. But they are also going to be very spaced out, which is fine because they would be the very end of the line. You would absolutely design a line that's the end, but it also means that you could potentially create the loop. Like you can make the string a closed loop where if those Alaskan cities span all the way across, you could end up having something in South America help out. Let's have a look. So it does make me want to bring in that makes me want to bring in Antarctica a little bit more, because with this guy, you know what you're getting. We're going to get one city, and it's going to be right there. With Antarctica, they could be anywhere. And possibly what we'd do is we could have a city. We could probably connect Perth. I assume is going to be the furthest separated city that we get in this region. We have Perth connect to Antarctica over here, and then. So why is this bit? See, this is what I'm talking about like not being able to look at it. Just going to be clicking rid of those messages. Why is this section here white? Is that just because it's not considered part of art? Look at that as well. We've revealed the truth. World's flat. So, if there's, say, I assume that you're going to get a city somewhere here, because a lot of Alaskan tours, I thought, went from Southern South America to connect into this section of Antarctica. So I would think that there's going to be a city here close to South America. If there's one here, and you get like a weird little space along, sure, I'll connect this part of the string to this part of the string. Let's make it a complete circle. All right, let's do it. Next time, let's bring in Antarctica, see what we get. I mean, it should be a little while before we start connecting it anyway. I'd say I've got another episode of just sort of sorting this guy out, but it does seem like I need one last hurrah of just having Antarctica unlocked, Australia unlocked, New Zealand unlocked, and then like these guys will not need any sort of like separate unlocks. So maybe next time, if I remember, let's do New Zealand and Antarctica. And then I can leave the game for like, say, 10 hours or so and see what cities, if we get more Chinese cities, more Russian cities, what we're given at that stage. We have some red guys definitely all over. Let's treat them to an upgrade. Hey, look at that. We got a new American city. We've got a few more American cities, actually. We've got Santa Rosa here. And we got Dubuque. That's right, isn't it? Over there. Is that all? That's a surprise. We haven't gotten anyone in Alaska or... No, we still don't have Why You're Alaska making an appearance. This is a nice get too, actually, because that shortens this route between San Jose and Redding. Which has been a problem for a while. For about... what, a lazy 40 hours or so. So welcome Santa Rosa. Very slow welcome. I guess what, I've made a change to a part of the map that hasn't been changed in a while. It's freaking out. And guess what, Santa Rosa, you can be treated to being max level. And Dubuque, sorry, let's Dubuque. Let's got a pretty obvious little connection in there too. That means I might have to audit the whole world. It also feels insulting to Australia a little bit, like a little bit hurt that there's some beautiful cities in Australia that just they'll go like, you know what? It's been a while, but let's go back to the well on the US. There's nothing to see here in Australia. Brisbane, Gold Coast, Townsville, Perth, Broome, Darwin. I'm not making these words up. Alice Springs. Let's see them. We got towns in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Let's see some Australian cities. About in Antarctica, South Africa, South America. At a glance, I can't see any new cities there. If you obviously see any that I don't notice, let me know. Doesn't look like Africa's got any. India could definitely get a few. Obviously, we've got a few in Southeast Asia over there. Europe's packed. Nice and tight. I don't think we're going to see anything else coming in there. But there we are for now. Oh, we've got another Filipino city. 2 more Filipino cities. You are out and about. Maybe we'll bounce you up that way. All right. Well, that'll be us for today. Any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below. That was Papua New Guinea and Singapore that were our bring-ins. So we can just admire them both just there. Any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below. And until next time, catch you later. See ya.